Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of BiblioTech On Air. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
I'm Miranda.
And today we're going to be talking about a childhood and adult favorite, Toy Story, specifically Toy Story 5, the newest movie in the series to hit theaters. And before we get started, just want to remind y'all to check out on cloudLibrary the Toy Story movie book adaptations that we have. So if you want to catch up, by all means, check those out with your BiblioTech library card. Gonna pass it on over to Miranda.
Hello, everyone. Okay, let's get started. So what were your expectations going into this movie specifically? And then if you would share if you've seen any of the other movies, and at the end of this movie, where did it fall on your range? If you were to put it before any of the other movies or after?
I was so excited for it. I love Toy Story. It came out the first one came out the year I was born. So I literally grew up with all of them. So Toy Story is my age, about to be 31 years. So I was really looking forward to it. It met my expectations. I had a blast watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Very intense emotions.
I will die for Woody.
So Toy Story, I grew up with it, obviously. Loved the first one, the second one. Was there when the third one was announced, 10 years after the second one. Obviously, that one was such an just a really emotional climax to the, Andy trilogy. The fourth one, I watched it and I really liked it. I remember watching it in theaters and I was like, oh, this is actually really well done. It doesn't feel like they're just milking it to milk it.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this one, I did have complicated feelings because I felt like this one was already it's just a cash cow at this point, which, I mean, granted it is.
Yeah.
It's going to make Disney millions, potentially billions. But, so when I initially watched it, I was okay, let's, expectations were low.
Mm-hmm.
But after maybe 15 or 20 minutes into the movie, I was like, nah, this one's good. This one's really well done. So
Yeah. If you had to place it in a ranking almost, where would this one fall? Is it the best you've seen or kind of in the middle?
I really liked that it was a continuation of Toy Story 2 of Jessie, when she was going through her backstory and everything like that. So when it started off, that first scene of Jessie with her Emily, I was like, oh man, this movie is gonna wreck me, because that was the scene that always stood out to me out of all of them was Jessie's super sad as heck storyline. So I don't know, I like that it did an homage to it. I would rank it. Oh, it's so hard. I don't know. I like all of them just so equally.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I don't think I could rank them either.
Yeah.
Just because they all have their place in time.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say, I want to put this one first, blah, 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 blah. But kind of going on what Ruby said, I really did like that they brought it full circle, because it still feels like the people who grew up with Toy Story are kind of seeing that reflected on because we saw it with Andy. We're seeing it with Bonnie, who's, slowly going through her childhood. And then we see it with a character we never even really met. We see it with Emily. Mm-hmm. And we see Jessie finally kind of get to have that, get that process, that emotional closure. Mm-hmm. I do have one comment about that, though. It is kind of, I do like that they made it sweet with, Emily naming her kid after Jessie. Mm-hmm. But also I'm like, girl, you put her in a box and left her at a donation station. How could she have meant that much to you if you just kind of ditched her?
Was it her choice? She was a kid. I feel like when you're a kid, you do stuff like that. I remember almost getting rid of toys that my great grandma gave me and my grandma gave me. I was just I'm above this, I don't want this in my room anymore. Yeah. And then a few years later, I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad my mom beat me for not getting rid of those. Because what was I thinking in that moment? It's you don't really click about that until maybe a few years later.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's very valid. That's very valid.
I was going to do more of the intro, but since y'all started talking about it, just more of the Jessie scene, what did you find the scene adding to the story? Did you feel like it really added and gave her closure, or did you think it was kind of out of nowhere?
It felt pretty seamless the way it happened, because Jessie, now she's the leader of the toys, she's taking Woody's place. Well, not his place, because she's made it her own, but she's kind of, in charge now. Mm-hmm. And I think this was definitely a bit more important, like, very needed to remind Jessie and of course the audience of like where she came from, how much she's grown, and why she's in the position she is now. Not that there's like a toy hierarchy, obviously, but I think it was just an important reminder, and it happened in a really natural way because it brought that trauma back for her, but she was able to kind of process it and go through it with the help of like Bullseye, and Woody and Buzz, and the horse army.
Yeah. What did you think?
I really liked it because I think like when you're young, like things do have like such significance to you. Like I remember growing up, I'm like, I'm gonna name my first kid like Max from my favorite movie, Goofy movie, or something like that. Like it's just things like those that stay with you. So I like that they included that because I feel like that's a pretty common feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think also showing the fact that she had already had a daughter and that lunchbox looked like it had been buried for so long, it really reminds you how long she's been a toy and like how many kids she's had, like she's got to be like a toy for. I thought that was like just really showed you the timeline of her life.
Yeah.
And she's been a toy for so long and gone through so much heartbreak over like an extensive period. I thought it was really nice touch. It made me honestly probably like really emotional.
Yeah, I was talking about it too with someone where they're like, I thought Emily was gonna like show up or something, and I was like, do you not remember how old Jessie is? Like she's like, it's not gonna be the same family or the same kind of generation of family living in the same house after all these years. Yeah.
So jumping back a little bit to the intro, just to touch on it a little, they introduced it by almost what looked like it was gonna be a like short film by introducing a bunch of buzzes. What did y'all think about that intro, and was it kind of like what's going to happen? Like what's going on?
So I thought at first, like you mentioned, it was going to be a short, or it was going to play into like the Buzz Light universe, like kind of like how the second one, we got more like Buzz lore and stuff with like the video game and all the buzzes and Zurg. But then seeing that Toy Story 5 appearing when they were like kind of running around the island, it's like, oh,
this is the movie.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
So it was definitely interesting, definitely a B plot that ended up meshing with the main story. But yeah, I don't know. Like it was funny how it played out, but at first it was like,
I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. At first I didn't know what their reasoning was, but like in the previews of the movies, the one shot that stood out to me was all the buzzes in the water coming out when they're glowing. I was like, oh man, that looks so cool. Like I thought I really enjoyed it. And the fact that they mentioned it too, like later on in the movie, how these are new buzzes. Like they have technology embedded into them too. So it's literally like 2 for 1. It's like a toy, but it's also technology. So I really liked that they included that in there.
The upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was definitely confused at first, but I feel like they meshed it really well. And honestly, it was fun just watching them figure out like what they needed to find. And they were switching from the star in the sky to then they saw Woody and then Jessie and then like finally making it there. I thought it was a fun addition.
The shenanigans.
I feel like it meshed really well. I think also the combo of like toy and technology, I liked it. I thought it was cool. And then how do you think... I think this was kind of shown throughout, like it was kind of meshed in there, but how do you think the animators did with showing the changes the toys had gone through over their toy life and how they're aging? Like, how do you think they went about that?
I'm really glad I feel like they didn't do it too dramatically, other than Woody's bald spot.
And his belly.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
That was so very funny. I like that they didn't change it too much because there's other movies like Shrek 5 where I'm like, they just like went off the deep ends.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they could have done that, but they didn't. They like stayed to the same kind of style that they've always done, but made like little changes here and there. So I love that.
Yeah. What did you think?
Bullseye is ageless.
Bullseye.
My beautiful horse king, ageless. But it was done really well. The Woody thing was just, again, super funny. He's really the one that we see the aging most out of the main toys. But I did like that we see, because obviously we have, the peak of modern toys, which is Lily Pad. And then even like, we see like old, out of date toys, like with the potty training toy.
Snappy,
the camera, Snappy.
Atlas.
So it is interesting to see, like those are still new toys, but they've aged. Like they're out of date. They're not up to time. So we see it from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think the little jokes about Woody's aging and him being kind of like clueless about it was really funny. And I think also because he's obviously the original toy, so I feel like that was super fun for people that grew up with it, not necessarily just like the little kids that this might be their first Toy Story movie they've seen. So I thought that was really fun. And then mentioning the brown marker the whole time, I was like, that's pretty funny. And then going more into the digital side, like how you said with the iPad or like Lily Pad, did you find the extent of iPad kids across Bonnie's neighborhood and her dance friends accurate, or did you think they kind of overplayed it? Like there's not that many iPad kids around her.
I think it's pretty accurate. Like, unfortunately, I've seen that everywhere. I've seen kids just glued to their iPads everywhere. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's how it looks.
Yeah, it's iPad kid, iPad babies. You do see that everywhere. But yeah, you see the iPad kids everywhere. It's not a new thing. At this point, it's kind of fairly normal. And the unfortunate thing is, as young as those kids are, because we know Bonnie is 8, we see little instances of cyberbullying as well. And it's just so sad to see, because that's a reality that a lot of kids go through now, regardless of your age. You can get bullied for something as simple as still playing with toys, which is ridiculous. You're a kid. You should have toys. What kind of elitism is in your stupid little 7-year-old head that you think, oh, I'm not going to play with toys anymore? Oh my God, these entitled children making that sweet little girl cry because she has an imagination. God forbid. Which is why I'm glad that she found Blaze, because Blaze is a good example of balance in that she still uses tech. She uses her laptop, iPad, whatever. But then we see her play with toys, and the toys have like the best just like playtime session they've had in a long time.
Yeah. And her like intertwining both of them too, when she was playing with the toys and playing with the potty toy. And Atlas and Snappy.
And they were like, this is what it feels like. Like, this is so cool to be used in an imaginative way, not just like, I took a photo with you and I'm done with you. Yeah, I really liked
like,
that.
I've outgrown you. I don't need you anymore. Like, she was just like, nah, man, bring it in. You're going to be part of playtime. Like, that was really heartwarming. And I really like the character of Blaze in this case. For that. She was a really nice addition.
And I definitely agree with her. I do not think it was overplayed, especially when they panned out of her window of her playing and it was just like glowing screens. Because it's not like they just showed them playing on like lily pad tablets. It was computer games. It was
they didn't just show kids either. They were showing like the adults like on their computers.
The computers. So I thought that was nice that they like zoomed it out and showed you it's like starting at a very young age, but it's since they're starting at such a young age, it's becoming their habit throughout their life. So I was like, that was really interesting to see. And I like that you mentioned the cyberbullying part, because that tablet was meant for kids her age. It was supposed to be an educational tablet and a communication tablet, but it's still like those like ugly comments and stuff still made their way to her. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like she should just be playing.
Which, let me bring up, I'm so sorry, I'm still a little bit pissed about this. At the end, we see Blaze and Bonnie playing in the yard. Cute. Toys. Awesome. We see those little whack kids from across the street. We see them, that they're like, oh, look at them. They're playing. I want to join now. Where was that energy when she was trying to make friends with y'all, huh?
Yes, exactly.
But no. And you're like, you know what? Let me go invite myself over now. No.
They had a change of heart.
Man, heck them kids.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, what? Bonnie wasn't cool enough? Because she like worked up the sweet courage to go over to y'all and ask to play, knowing she was probably going to get turned down. Then she had to go running, crying to her mom, asking why no one wanted to be her friend. Now y'all want to be her friend. Oh, okay.
Like, I was thinking the same thing. As a shy kid, I'm like, as a shy little baby, I'm like, I get that. That hurt.
Well, touching more on like the cyberbullying part and just like kind of handing Bonnie a tablet, what did y'all think of Bonnie's parents' actions towards this whole thing of like giving her access to technology, but also the inactions of what they didn't do?
I felt like they were pretty valid in what they were doing. Like, you see that they were hesitant at first with getting the iPad, but they're like, Bonnie just seems like she's out of date with all the other kids. Like, we're kind of, our hands are tied. What else are we supposed to do? You know, I'm not a parent, so I can't tell other parents what I think they should do. You know,
what, you didn't get your dog barks too much. You didn't get him an iPad.
I need to get my dog's iPad now so they can be up to speed with the dogs these days. But no, I mean, they were like, okay, we're gonna introduce like cutoff time, screen time. We're gonna do all that. Like, I felt like their intentions going into it were like pretty valid. You know, that's a normal thing to be feeling.
I feel like they could have been with her in the process a bit more. Like, yeah, sure, get her an iPad. Maybe not immediately, you know, like maybe save it for like a birthday or Christmas thing. Do a bit more research. They're not going to show all that in the movie, obviously. These are just, you know, thinking from a realistic perspective. But like, you know, also have time to like, you know, walk her through it. Show that you are kind of like, okay, so this is your tablet. Let's both learn how to use it together. Let's go understand the features. And then, like you said, cutoff times. Because I get it, their intention was good going into it, but they just left her completely unmonitored. And, you know, as an adult, we see the dad using like his PC and stuff. Like, you obviously know the dangers of any device that can connect to internet. You know, keep that in mind and just kind of do your job. Be a bit more of a parent. Not to say they're bad parents, because they're not, you know. She's their only child. You know, they're figuring out the process along with her. But you know, I feel they could have done a bit more.
Yeah.
They definitely did a good job later on when Bonnie's mom like takes it away for a while after seeing what happened. But that was more not preemptive action. That was more
reactive.
Something happened,
Yeah. But I mean, again, they're not bad parents. Like we see Bonnie is loved. We see her, she's a creative kid. She, you know, is shy, but she ends up socializing, making friends. But it was still a little annoying to see.
Yeah, it just, you really have to watch your kids when you have kids. Like, they can do anything.
Wait, you have to watch your kids when you have kids?
Unfortunately.
Holy
they can't just go outside and come back inside when it's dark now.
Yeah.
This ain't the 80s.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think there's a mix, because I did find it interesting that they did mention screen time, but they also still allowed her to keep it in her room with her.
Yeah.
So they don't know. Like, if they go to sleep and she's girl, we had like DS, we would hide that under a pillow. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like the same idea. Like, yeah, I look asleep, but that thing's glowing under my pillow. Yeah. Like, I'm about to play Mario. Like, you know, like, I feel like they should have realized, like, they would have done the same thing if they were, when they were kids. And not that they may have had like that active of technology. They were going to find a way to do something fun though if they're sleeping. And she had it right on her nightstand. She woke up, she brought it with breakfast. I think there should have been a little bit more boundaries, like, hey, at the table, like, you leave it in your room, and like stuff like that. But even then, she would like eat super fast and like go back to
yeah.
And I do think they should have been checking it more, because even the lily pad, they showed obviously an animated iPad, but lily pad was noticing these things and changes in her before her parents. Like, she was like, oh my gosh, like, maybe I was wrong, maybe this wasn't what she needed. And I'm like, how are the parents not noticing that she's kind of like shut down after the sleepover? Like, she didn't want to talk. I would be freaked out. Like, if my kid came home from an unknown house and like was
acted that way,
I would be like, what happened? What'd they do to you? What is going on?
So even the toys were like grilling the iPad, being like, what happened? And then they learned, you know? So I think they should have been a little bit more aware and know the dangers, like you said, even if it's silly, like a silly meme making fun of her for having toys.
Yeah.
That means a lot. Like, that's really crazy for an 8-year-old. So I do wish they had done that, but obviously they're animated parents, and it was showing what can happen. Like, if you don't pay attention to those little things. And it was a lesson not only to the kids in the theater, but the parents. And I'm sure those parents went home that day. Some of them probably checked their iPads. And been like, oh wait, hold on, like, what is happening? So hopefully that was a good lesson for them.
Because we see it on the flip side real quick with Blaze. Like, Blaze keeps her tech in her room, but she's got a really good handle on it. So it kind of, I think, goes to show like, oh, she was walked through the, you know, walked through that very well and understands that balance.
I did think that makes sense. It did show a pretty good balance of it, like how she had versus what Bonnie was just glued to it. Even talking to Blaze, as soon as she got out of the car, she was hugging it. I was like, you should be hugging a stuffy, girl, not your iPad. But so I think, there were sorts part of that I was like, oh my gosh.
There's a lot of big feelings here if y'all haven't picked up on that already.
Big feelings over Toy Story 5. But yeah, I did feel like that. But to Ruby's point, it's so common. Like, it's so common for people. Like, I've seen kids do exactly what Bonnie did, just have like glued to it, like not at a restaurant, at their own table, just everywhere, in the car, like.
Can I share a little moment, but like from my childhood that I vividly remembered? I had a little thing happen a few days ago, and it made me think of like when I was a kid and me and my mom would have to like, you know, go somewhere and wait. I had this memory of, because this was, you know, we obviously went to offices a lot and like, you know, doctor's appointments and, you know, she would take me everywhere. And so I remember like when we would be bored or waiting a lot, she had her little notepad and we would bust it out and we would just like play tic-tac-toe like the entire time while we were waiting. We would play like, I don't know how many games and keep the tally of like us winning. And I'm just like, that's such a change now. Like now we can just be on our phones.
There's so much I feel like we used to do when we were younger that kids just don't do now. It's like they don't do raindrop races in the car anymore. I don't know if they noticed the moon following them in the car in the car ride.
Did y'all ever imagine yourself running on
on the power lines? Yes. All of that. I'm like, do kids even do that anymore?
Yeah. It's a very big shift in allowing yourself to be bored.
Yeah.
Like they don't really get bored anymore. And if they are doing crafty or like hands-on things, it's because they saw it on like TikTok.
Yeah.
They're like making slime, not because they're like, oh my gosh, what could I do today? And I'm going to think of it myself, or, something like that. Like, it's like, oh, I saw on TikTok. So now I'm going to go get this TikTok item that I'm going to touch one time and then find another TikTok trend to do. Like, they're not like sticking with things and they're not thinking of it, a lot of the things themselves, or like, I don't know. It's such a big change.
And then you see us as adults, like now we're, doom scrolling is a very real thing as adults.
That's why I'm like, when I see kids do it, I'm like, ugh, like it. I feel yucky when I'm doom scrolling. When I'm done, I'm like, oh, my nervous system is shot. Like So I'm so overstimulated.
Yep.
My brain was just consuming so much stuff. So I'm like, I can't imagine how they feel, you know? I'm like,
they're still developing. Their brains are growing.
I'm like, I need to be bored. I need to or stimulate my mind. Like I need to read. Like I have not read this whole month. I've just been overstimulated.
Which is the only time it's great to spend hours on your
technologies when you're
with
reading
BiblioTech.
when you're stimulating your brain in the right way, allowing yourself to be imaginative,
using one of your many checkouts on cloudLibrary.
Exactly. Okay, before we kind of close this out, there was just like a fun question I want to talk about. So the opening scene with Bonnie playing, she was having a wedding, and then we got to see that wedding finish at the end of the movie, but with two new characters that were getting married. What did y'all think about Buzz and Jesse's like growing relationship and their
so cute
ending marriage?
So cute.
I thought it was pretty cute.
The proposal. I like the struggle of Buzz, trying to figure out when to propose. And then he picks the worst time, but also happens to be the cutest time when they're about to get hit by a semi. And he's like, will you? And she picks up on what he's putting down. And, they have their cute little kiss and she's pushes him away so he doesn't get, smashed into a million pieces.
But like a man, Jesse is out here dealing with big, heavy things. And this is all Buzz is thinking about this entire time. Is just when he wants to marry her, when he wants to lock her down.
Dang, misogyny at work. Oof. But that's actually a really good point. I did not think about that. How, she's going through so much emotional turmoil, trauma that's been brought back. And then Buzz is
Bonnie's childhood is in her hands. And Buzz is just like,
I want to marry this girl. I want to lock this girl down.
No, literally, when she's in the closet, like emotionally distraught, trying to reach Woody for like some help, and you just look out and Buzz is just practicing his proposal in the air, like completely oblivious that she's having a breakdown.
This is why Bullseye is the real one. But Bullseye was there with her the whole time. I'm not saying she's going to marry Bullseye. Let's get that out of our mind. But that's a real friend. That's a real ride or die.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. And getting to see Woody come back with like his love, and now getting, if they do more movies, then hopefully seeing like Buzz and Jess get to grow together. I thought it was fun.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see them like adopting toys as kids down
like
the line.
Taking in like toys from like Woody and oh my gosh,
Bo Peep.
Like if they bring in toys.
Bo Peep
also,
the baddie.
Just a fun mention, one of the scenes that made me laugh the hardest was when Woody was trying to rescue that like peanut toy from the tree.
That was so cute.
He was so over it. He was like, just let the squirrel get me.
One of my favorite scenes was Bad Bunny being the pizza with sunglasses.
Which
I did not know.
I can't believe y'all did not know that. I saw the publicity of when they were pushing out the movie, and they were like, Bad Bunny's going to be in it and he's going to be in this character. So I was like looking forward to that. And then as soon as that pizza with sunglasses started talking in Spanish, I was like, this is Bad Bunny.
Oh my gosh. I did not pick up on that.
Well, there's a lot of funny moments.
Did you have a favorite scene or a fun scene that made you laugh before we conclude?
Since we're on that topic, there were a lot. I really liked the scene of Jesse telling the toilet training toy, like, I'm not going to play that game with you. And then we see her like overnight, just like going on a gambling binge, just like stomping on the toy.
And he's like, stop, I can't feel my buttons.
And then of course the horse army. I thought that was so
dude,
fun.
That was
and imagine
so much
the
fun.
animating that took.
Oh no.
Like, just a million plastic toys. And also just, the classic trope of just like them dropping dead.
Yes.
Like when they're on the highway and the car's coming, they're like, car!
And the animators really did their big one. They're like,
Yeah.
we're going to show you, we know the difference of a real horse and toy horses.
Yeah.
And we're going to
Beautiful
put them
horse.
side by side together and show you just what we can do.
Yeah.
I loved that part where,
Yes.
but I think Dandelion or something like that, the real horse. I don't
Yeah.
know. That real horse and Bullseye when they're shaking and
Yeah.
So cute.
In the
I was like,
barn.
oh my God, that's
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah, the animation on this was amazing.
It was
Here.
really
it was
good.
really good. Okay, thank you for sharing. I agreed with all that. The one you were saying was the one I was thinking, but I had already gone, so I was like sending it to you. I was like, please
Sending
talk
it
about
to you.
Okay, so
We had a brain blast moment.
yes, we did. So, did the ending feel satisfying for you, or was there more that you wanted to see?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I really liked that they brought Lily Pad back and they're like, you can do things. You're not entirely useless.
Yeah.
You're not a terrible addition to Bonnie's life.
Yeah.
Because this is technology. It's here. Like, what are we going to do? We can't banish it completely, but we need to just be mindful of like the uses that we want to use it for, and not get like too sucked into it.
Yeah, we see her incorporate very well. We see her take pictures of the wedding. She's like,
Yes,
I caught all these shots.
Yes, and sending it to the other toys at Blazes. I thought
Yes.
that was really
I
cute.
love that. Like, it kind of shows like positive ways that you can use tech.
Yes. Yeah.
But I thought it ended really well. I did read somewhere that apparently this is going to be a trilogy because the first trilogy was Andy and now this is the Bonnie trilogy. So even though it ended on a really good note, like with the wedding and, you know, Woody and Bo Peep doing their thing,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, like, if they do a sixth one, like,
Where is it gonna
how-
go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because now seeing that they did the fifth one really well and that I was wrong to have such low expectations of it going into it, you know,
There's just like everyone's childhoods is just so different, like
Yeah.
from generation
Yeah.
to generation. So I feel like in my head, I was like, how are they going to like keep going with that? But
Yeah.
like the world is changing.
Yeah.
They can keep going with it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just show us what's going on right now in our faces that we don't realize.
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. I thought it ended really nicely. I'm very glad they finally got together, getting to see like the neighbors, like maybe if they do a future movie, it's showing that like they kind of are getting more outside,
neighbors.
hopefully.
Show me the neighbors,
twins.
the
Yeah.
Jordan
But
twins.
yeah, I did think I really enjoyed the wedding because I feel like obviously it concluded, but like finalized Buzz and Jess's like relationship. But then you got to see how everyone now was like fitting into this scenario, like the digital toys, like Lily Pad, the other toys at Blaze's house, getting to interact even from that distance. I feel like that showed what you could do with these toys, and it doesn't have to be bad. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I am excited if they do another one. My expectations. I like them all. I feel like they'll do something fun.
They really
regardless.
do. They each have their own individual take
Yeah.
on the times.
Yeah, but that was all I had.
Yeah, but that was our discussion on Toy Story 5. So again, if y'all want to kind of, you know, brush up on the series, by all means, check out the movie adaptation books on cloudLibrary with your library card. And, you know, go buy a toy today. Go buy a toy. Go buy a lily pad.
Go buy a toy that is not a squish related item.
No Neatos, no Squishmallows. No, I'm kidding.
Something else.
But with that said, thank you guys for joining us on this discussion of Toy Story 5 from millennials and Gen Z. Oh my God, I just realized that.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But anyway, catch us on the next episode of BiblioTech on Air. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.